Hi, folks. Welcome back. Haven't had much interesting to say, but today I got something to share with everyone, something I've been working on, and because it's a digital thing, I can share it with you. I've been reading this book. This book came out in 2022 this year, and it's written by Glenn Rahman. It's his Manarian Legends. I am surprised that this book exists in 2022 because it's based on his very old Divine Right game. This is my copy. It came out in about 79. It was put out by TSR Hobbies. And my introduction to hobby gaming kind of began with this particular game. My copy is, well worn. It's been spilled on and everything like that. But it's sort of a unique world. Um, it reminds me of like a Conan Hyperborea type world. A little better than Middle Earth, maybe. Um, Somewhat. This is my map that I glued to this piece of wood, and I've actually toted this thing around for 40 years. You can see I got a hole in it there. It's been spilled on, but it's a pretty neat game. I really like the world. So this was a 25th anniversary game that came out. Um, you can do the math. I'm not sure what year it came out. 2004 maybe. And it came with this CD-ROM in it, which had all the Dragon magazine articles published by Glenn about his world, which many of them are updated and contained in the book that I showed at the beginning. So the game came with a basic rule set, and the advanced and intermediate rules were on the CD-ROM. You had to print out the PDFs yourself or just read them off the PDF. So I printed some of them out. It was a bit of a mess as far as the rules organization, and that gave me a lot of problems. The cards were nicer, the counters were not. And it just has a lot more characters, a lot more magic items. It was I would say dialed up quite a bit from the original game. This is the map board that came mounted, so the material that it was produced from is superior, but there were some typos or things missing off the board. Some of the river fonts were so small you couldn't really read them. It just kind of had a little bit of a mismatch. The graphic design on it was a bit odd. So I kind of like the map board better, and I definitely like the counters better on the other one. But it was nice getting the CD-ROM with all of the Dragon magazine articles. There are links on Board Game Geek where you can find that those articles online. But I'm going to pop them in the Dropbox with all the goodies I got for you from this particular project that I worked on. So this is the 25th anniversary game, Divine Right. Then last year I was on Board Game Geek, and I became aware that there were playtest versions of the Scarlet Empire game floating around. And I downloaded the files thanks to someone sharing me a link. And I printed out this map board for Scarlet Empire. So, I had files for the most of the counters, files for the rules, files for the map. So you could print out your own board game, but I didn't necessarily really want to do that. I got to thinking it would be really neat if this was in one of the computer simulators, such as Tabletop Simulator, Vassal, or my favorite, Cyberboard. And I endeavored to try it. So this was going to be, my first attempt at making a Vassal mod. There is an excellent Vassal mod for the Divine Right original game, and it was something that I thought I could make modifications to, but I was unable to figure out how to make Vassal mods. I don't have the tech savvy, I don't know, just brains, I guess, to figure it out. It was too difficult. Then I found out that someone made a Python script that'll change your cyberboard into Vassal for you. Using Paint.net, it's fairly easy to make maps like this. I just found a place online that'll let you make a hex grid, pasted it on there, used the bucket tool to fill everything in. Lots of copy and pasting. Most of the trees are the same. The big difference in the map that you're going to see is that this sea down here is much larger. This river is now able to be transferred by seagoing vessels. This is a navigable river. And then this area right here, the river is no longer connecting. It sort of rerouted the rivers. He explains it by the fact that there was earthquakes. This city is now conquered by Ramboon. It's no longer part of this other nation, Shikazam. And so that's about it. So this is the Divine Right 25th Anniversary map drawn in Paint.net. Now, let's look at the Scarlet Empire map drawn in Paint.net. New terrain type is light jungle here, one or two trees per location. Heavy jungle here, which are trees connected together. I found that image online, pasted it in there. This is the Witchland down here in the bottom right here, this big massive country, which is integral to the story of this, where they come up with the Scarlet Empire. One of the things that he did was create scenarios for this, this land. Now, the main game is going to take place after the Witch King has been chased away. He's somehow kind of like Sauron. He's in another dimension or whatever. But one of his underlings is controlling things, so it's still a powerful country. However, there are scenarios where you can reenact the Empire version of the Witchlands. And in the Warhammer 25th Anniversary, the old map, there was this enormous mass of Eastern horsemen that enter from this side of the board and fight against everyone else. So he created quite a few scenarios there. So this is the Scarlet Empire map. Here is, not that one, this one. This is the combined map where the two are hooked together, and you can see everything in there. Now this one is in the Cyberboard box, so you're going to have access to all these maps. Look down here at the bottom. There are 4 boxes, and that is for ships to go around the bottom of this subcontinent. It takes them 4 turns to get across there. One of the things that I did, the reason that there's a 4th map is this. I put this river right here in, connecting this sea to the main ocean. You can use it or not, but the map's there for you to enjoy. So the maps were all done in Paint.net. Once they're done, converted them into BMP files, then I could paste them into Cyberboard. So let's go take a look at Cyberboard. Once you download Cyberboard and install it, it's an old program, so it should run on anything. I have no problems running it. This is my folder with my files in, and you're going to see that there is a play, and then there is a design. So let's double click on the design. I'll show you what the design consists of. In case you want to make modifications to it, you just go into the design. We're going to open up the Divine Right and Scarlet Empire game box. The game box has all the pieces in, and you can modify any of them you want. You can see the playing boards are up here, all 4 boards listed, 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. Pick which one you want. Tile image groups, all the images are here for all the counters. Put in diplomacy cards and things of that nature. So that's all the image groups are here. Then you take the image groups and you make playing piece groups out of them. So what you do here is, for example, Afgar has maybe one of this particular image, but down here in the playing piece, Afgar has multiples of that. So you can add, multiples of that. So you take the images, put them into playing pieces. So all the playing pieces are down here. It's a lot of different playing piece groups. Trying to organize them was actually more difficult than doing the graphics. Then down at the bottom are board markers. These never run out. So there you have it. Now that we have the game box done, you use the game box to create a scenario, and there's a lot of scenarios. I built 3 of them. And one of the problems I ran into, and I'll explain it to you here in a minute. Let me get into the Cyberboard player, and you can take a look at the so again, the Cyberboard play. Let's take a look at the 25 only scenario. So this is the scenario that I created. It uses just the base map right here. There you go. This is a small version of the map. You can view the full-scale board, which you can zoom in pretty good. Now, one of the things that I realized is that part of the problem that I had was that the rules changed from basic to intermediate to advanced, and then they were scattered out. But it was even actually worse than that, because certain units had different rules on how they impact each other in different versions. So you would have Tana the She-Devil and the Bilge-Rat are arch enemies, but they're not arch enemies until a later version. And she's in the advanced rules, he's in the intermediate rules. So it became, peculiar, just like there's a couple other examples of that. But this is something that I tried to do, and I'm going to probably do, but I'm not going to do it for the version that I'm putting in the Dropbox for you. So all this is going to be in the Dropbox, but I don't know what level of game you're going to want to play, basic, intermediate, or advanced. And so I'm just going to put it out there with what I have done, and I'm going to show you how you can make these things. If you go up here to view, we're going to bring down a tray palette right here. And what we want to look at is clear board markers. These markers, I've already put some tooltips on them, as you can see right here, right? This is the gray staff one. Altars of Gray Staff. So if I go down to the Altars of Gray Staff location right here, where is it? It is over here. I'm going to take this clear tile and I'm going to drag it over here and pop it down. You can see you can't even see it. Right there it is. So on one side it says Altars of Gray Staff. I'm going to turn it over. Now you can see there's so much of a box that it won't even fit, so I'm going to have to bring it down like this. That's the rules for Altars of Gray Staff right there. But it depends on what version of the game you're playing, which rules you need. So if you use these to put on your own tooltips and then drag them over there, you can. Now, if you do not want them, you can take it back and drop it off. But if you bring one of these over here and you don't want to, you can go on the back side and click Lock Objects right here, right click, and then hit Lock Objects, and then that item is no longer selectable. So that tooltip will stay locked to that map location. Now I'm going to do this for all the different map locations, but because the tooltip varies from version to version plus optional rules, there is a large optional checklist in the advanced rules because it can become as involved a game as you want. But here's the map. So that's that one. I mean, obviously you got your units here. You can drag them down. Let's go into here. So kingdoms random draw. A lot of times when you start a game, you're just going to pick a random kingdom. I'm going to come over and just grab one, and this is set for a random. So I'm just going to come over here. Let's try to pick up Halthier, but we'll see what we get. We get Gem, the dwarves. And there's a tooltip attached to this as well. Now we're going to need a personality for them. So let's, if they're a non-player character, they get a personality card. So let's just come over here and try to grab a personality. I put all the personalities together to give you more variety. The Divine Right ones are outlined in blue. The other ones are outlined in red. So if you want to play strictly Divine Right, you don't want any of the Scarlet Empire personalities, just redraw if you get one. So let's go over here and try to get number 22, but instead we get Divine Right at number 6, which is great. This monarch cares little for military manners. The regulars of the kingdom are poorly provisioned and rarely paid. Well, the dwarves are not going to be the best guys in the world, so I go to Gem, which is the dwarves, and you can see over here all the units are here, including the militia units for the variant rule about raising militia, and they have a tooltip which explains how they're used, and it's got the correct number of militia. Each unit has a correct number of militia. So I'm going to put his personality card in this over here. So the dwarves are all ready, set up and ready to go. There you have it. There's also a random events, which is right here. So instead of rolling 2d6, you just come over here and grab one. The number of cards in here is adjusted based on the probability of getting a 7 versus the probability of getting a 2 or a 12. Grab a random event, bring it out. Let's flip it over and see what we get. We get reinforcements. Bring 2 common mercenary units into play. When you are done, it tells right here, replace in the tray after resolve. So flip that thing back over and back it goes. So the next player has the same opportunity to get it. In Divine Right 25 and Scarlet Empire, those two games kind of mesh together. They have a lot of the same rules. There's a lot of overlap. I don't really think you can use Scarlet Empire with the traditional old version of Divine Right. One of the things they have is a magic item randomizer, where you just go in here and you just, if you're searching for treasure, your character's out, you just come over here and try to grab a magic item. And I put a question mark on one side so that if you're playing a game and you don't want someone else to know what you have, but they do know that you have a magic item, the question mark can be up. Because thieves can come around and steal them. You also can get these dummies. But again, it's a random. I'm going to try to pick up this guy's rope. And what I get, let's flip this thing over. Where is it at? Turn piece over. I got a bag of wind. Oh, that's just great. And again, I tried to put some tooltips on some of these for that. Now, this, I didn't tooltip all of them. I'm going to, but at this point, not a lot of the units in Scarlet Empire tooltip, because it just hit me how much of a variety there was in the tooltips based on the version of the game you're playing. So you can easily add tooltips to any of these yourself. Just, come out here, double click, and yeah, and add any tooltip you want. And that's really handy when playing a game like this, to record things on the unit. Let me show you something else. There is a mercenary randomizer and a mercenary holding box. So for example, I don't know who we're going to get. Let's see. Ozerg, that doesn't count. Let's see what ghouls.com. I'm going to keep doing this till I get somebody. The witch is one where it says right here, note which witch you have. Each witch has different spells. Note which witch you have. Throw her back in the randomizer and then get one out of the holding box. So for example, I'm going to take this witch right here. Go back to the holding box. There should be plenty more witches to pick from in the holding box. Yeah, there's rogues, there's bodyguards. There we go. We'll take a witch, bring it over here. I'll bring this up, and then I'll note that this is 7 and 10. I can just copy paste this like this and paste it into this one, so you can, and then this one right here can go back in the randomizer. So she goes back in the holding box. The other thing is certain units like the peasants come with the one person who rabble rouser. The one girl comes with a flying horse, so she'll come out of the randomizer, and then you got to go pick her flying horse up. The Bildrat's ship is holding the holding box. The Black Knight stuff is over here. Certain mercenaries are brought in by diplomacy cards. They're all held in the holding box because they don't come out randomly. These come out with the wandering people. And what else we got in here? So that's everything that's over here. So let's put these guys back into the mercenary randomizer. So everything that you need is kind of here to play the game. I have a lot of tooltips for Divine Right, not so much for Scarlet Empire because of the variety. And yeah, that's about it. So there's 3 scenarios here that I'm going to put in the Dropbox. You can download to get started right away, and then you can use the game box and the rules, because the Dropbox, I think I may have mentioned this, you're going to have basic, intermediate, advanced rules for Scarlet Empire and Divine Right. There is a lot of overlap, but a lot of the special rules are different. So you got 6 different PDFs of rules to look through, and there's going to be 3 different scenarios: the Divine Right, the Scarlet Empire, and then combined, plus the optional map if you want to make your own scenario up. So here we go. If you go to Scarlet Empire, yeah, let's take a look at the map here and view the tray palette. You have the kingdoms here. I just clipped a little bit of images off some pen and ink drawings I found online. I mean, this was just me scrabbling around trying to find artwork. So, I just took a circle with paint.net, plucked it out and put it on here. So these are the nations in Scarlet Empire. Again, it's random. Try to get Off-Guard, and I get Bomgo instead. You can see the capitals here. You got a, example. Tooltip pops up, lets you know what you need to know about that. And there's a lot more special rules that I'm going to put in this. So I might update this at some point. If somebody knows something that I missed or something that needs to be included, just let me know. So this is the Divine Right Cyberboard box. Let me tell you, think if I'm missing anything you need to try. You got everything you need there. Oh, the marker palettes are here. The game markers don't run out, so if you take a small boat out, there's always another small boat there, because you can pick up a boat along the coast, and you can sail your hero. He has to stay on the coast. You can't. It's not an open sea vessel. You can force march, and these are indicators that you're force marched. If you get turned into a beast, you got that. If you dig in and build a fort, you got that. Like this queen marker might not really be necessary because you use it to indicate a female monarch. However, I just, you could just double click and write that on the monarch counter that it's a queen instead of a king, which comes into play certain things. You get turned into a werewolf, you get replaced by this. You get turned into a vampire, you get replaced by this. There's plenty of treasure you can find, steal, and then use it to hire mercenaries. The vampire has to have a place where he goes back to and hides. And that's where he hides his stuff there. Battlefield markers. The necromancer needs to know where the bodies are so he can raise them. I don't know why I put 2 of them in there, but this guy's a lunatic. He comes into your castle and he builds potions for you, but if he rolls poorly, he blows your castle up. Kind of neat. He's from Scarlet Empire. The Wanderer is a random character that comes into play for certain purposes. Like, for example, if you got turned into a werewolf and you went around being a werewolf and then someone removed the curse, then you come back as a wayfarer if someone's taking over things. The rebel is used, and the militia here, they're used for the revolt option. Um, so, but and this is where I stopped right here when I was like, wait a minute, we are getting into so many different um, varieties of layers of different rules you can put in. So I'm going to do this with advanced rules, every option all layered on there with my tooltips. But I thought I'm just going to put this out there. If someone else wants to, I probably will put mine in with a different name that's like maxed options. It'll take me a while to do that until I get around it because I'm kind of tired of looking at this right now. But so there you go. And I guess I should mention what's the purpose of all this? Well, it's a world very similar to the Arabian Nights or Conan. It has a board game that's really nice, multiplayer, a lot of diplomacy, a lot of factions. It's got layers of adventures at the same time. So while armies are marching around doing their thing, your individual characters and heroes are marching around doing their thing, trying to get treasure and assassinate each other and casting curses on each other and stuff like that. So it can actually be used as a good setting for a role play system or a role play game, particularly if you have a group that gets together irregularly. And it can also be used as a good setting for setting up narrative battles for miniatures battles. If you're playing Chipko Fantasy Rules, I would suggest second edition, but you can use that system to refight this if with miniatures if you're a miniatures player. Although there are some advanced options for combat in here that really do add a lot to this. Um, so it's an interesting world. It's to me it's probably the best overlooked world in fantasy. I guess there's a lot that I haven't read that are probably whatever, but I enjoyed this a lot. And it was, it's just something that I wanted to do since I'm reading that book. Glenn has created a neat world, and I thought, yeah, I'll put this out there and maybe I can get some fun out of it with my little cyberboard thing. I have not tried the conversion to Vassal, but I'll put the link there if someone knows how to use Python and they want to try to convert one of these scenarios, and let me know how it works. So, yeah, there you go. Use to replace hero, turn to werewolf. I got a whole lot more tool tips to put in, but it's going to take a while to pan through all the rules. What really tripped me up was this rebel guy, and then the dancing girl did this and did that, and this get +1 here, and this. Well, wait a minute, the rules are scattered. So I need to go through with a highlighter and do a whole lot of work on that. But then I didn't want to mess this up for someone who's wanting to play the basic game. All right, so this is going to be in the Dropbox. Download it. Let me know if there's anything you want to see changed. Hope you enjoy it. I know it's not for everybody, but I like it a lot. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day.